Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's the Kill Team Casuals. Well, there's two of us. Russ was a bit nervous about what we're doing today, so he bailed out, but bravely, staunchly defending his territory. I am joined, as always, by Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop.
That's me. Thank you. Passing it over to not Russ because he left for milk and never came home. Passing it over to Reese from 3FN.
Hey.
3FN. Oh no, I couldn't even get through it. From 3FN. From threes to wounds. Gosh, Lord forgive me.
The truth comes out. Russ isn't here, and you're still like you're trying to turn me into Russ now, aren't you? 3FN. I miss him. I just miss him so bad.
Hey, Reese, do me a favor. Can you pop a beanie on real quick? Just pop a beanie on, real quick, and just meander about. Yeah, if you could just pop a beanie on and then go on like a 15-minute rant about something that happened to you today while we're trying to press the record button, that would be great. then I'd feel right at home.
We feel like nothing's changed. I was about to try and do a Russ accent, but then my brain, I could already feel it was going to be Jamaican for some reason, so I cut that off before it even happened. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, go ahead and get us canceled right off the bat. Yep. Yeah. A nice little canceling to get us started.
Yeah. I'm like, let's not start the episodes that way. We have to stop doing that. A huge welcome we got a whole bunch of people in the chat today. We got Six-Sided Paradise. We got Drone, Richard, we got CD, we got Jim Crimmins. We've also got Adam Smith, Barbecue and Warhammer fan over on YouTube as well. My favorite thing, he's kicked the AMA off already. Are you blokes coming to Dallas? Let's get some barbecue and be best friends. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, who posted that? Is that on YouTube?
That's on the YouTube chat, so you might not be able to see it. You know.
Who posted it? Yeah, who
Adam
posted that
Smith,
one?
Our Barbecue and Warhammer fan is his name there.
Okay. I was very close to going to Dallas, but actually I have another Kill Team thing that ended up happening is that a buddy is getting married, a Kill Team buddy, and asked me to officiate. So I will be officiating. Shout out to our boy Dawson. He was the Florida man that went to Worlds and beat Ace, and so I'm officiating his wedding.
The man,
coming up.
No wonder you could not have said no in that case.
I can't miss that, dude. No. I can't miss that. So it's gonna be a great time. So unfortunately, I'll not be at Dallas, but I think some of our Florida boys might be. So if you see some rowdy boys, they might be the Florida boys. Say hi.
The Florida crew. So yeah, we're doing something a little bit. We were hoping that the new balanced data slate was going to be dropped this week. That was the path. G Dubs let us down with a Warcom article. I think everyone saw it. I think a few people created content in anticipation, and then they were like, "Psych, we mucked up. Sorry, we meant next week." So
and before we hop into the questions, I think we should shoot from the hip. What are some changes that we want to see? What are we expecting / what do we want to see happen? You've been playing Kroot a lot lately, and Kroot are in a weird in between spot. What would you in a dream world? What do you want to see Kroot get out of this data slate? Or do you just want to see some teams get toned down? What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's been interesting because this weekend, I'm just going to do a quick shout out as well, but trust me, this will come back around to what we're doing. I'm heading up to Sydney to the Purge tournament. It's not quite Dallas, but it's in Australia. It's Dallas, that's our Sydney. That's close enough, right?
Yeah.
So I'm heading up there. I think at the moment there's 73 players confirmed. Golden ticket event.
Nice.
Up there.
Huge.
Yes, taking the Kroots, and it was interesting because I sort of had a quick look. Obviously, I had to put my list and team in, and I had a quick browse, and the big thing I was seeing, I thought the elites meta was over. It appears it is alive and well.
Alive and well, brother.
Yeah, or at least that's the feeling that obviously a lot of players have. I was surprised. It looks like there is a whole bunch of Nemesis Claw and a whole bunch of Angels of Death seem to be as just the highest percentage of teams that I saw. It was a very brief thing. I might be wrong, but that was what I saw a lot of. So I still think is this balanced data slate going to address let's call it the elite meta that still sort of seems to be prevailing over the game?
It's tough, isn't it? It's tough. It's like you want the elites, and I am an elite, sort of player. That's what I'd like to play. You want them to feel like they're elites, but it's like it feels like it's riding this razor thin line, where like too much is too much and not enough is not enough. And I don't know, like we're definitely not going to see Sanctifiers touched because they're too new, right? They're too
That's
new.
it.
That'll be. So somebody commented on the YouTube saying that Sanctifiers need a buff. They're not quite at 100% win rate yet. I think he's right. I think, God bless. I think you're right on target there.
I appreciate that. They're the Emperor's chosen. They're the Emperor's favorite pals.
Yeah, yeah. And so if you make the elites worse, what would, again, you've been beating your head up against elites. What would you like to see elites toned down with?
Yeah.
Like Dueler is rumored to get touched from like Angels of Death. People are always buzzing about that. Like, thinking that Dueler is a little bit too strong, the double parry thing. But what is the biggest problem for you with elites? Is it just killing them?
Yeah. I would say probably more I would look at. I actually don't think elites are necessarily broken per se. I actually think it's more looking at it it's like you got to reverse engineer. You also got to look the other thing, and that's it. Like a team like Kroot has so many wonderful things that it can do, and it's very similar of a lot of teams that have this many models. But also then it has not enough tools to deal with like a concentrated things like 3-up saves or the ability to parry or like their close combat guys don't quite hit hard enough, and they got some improvements like extra attacks here and there and things going from ceaseless, balance to ceaseless and things like that. But just the ability to push through damage is really, really not there. And now things like the fact that you have to spend a CP to do Rogue, which gives you those extra save, benefits. Without that, if you don't spend that CP, you're super squishy. So it's kind of you feel your CP economy is always automatically getting eaten up by nearly having to do that. Especially in those first couple of turns where you're trying to move down the board. But I don't envy what they have to do, if that makes sense. Because we saw, like, they did a good job of bringing the Warp Coven back into the fold. And then, because it's an inherently competitive game, people will always be trying to, find what is broken or find the gap, what's the thing they missed or that perfect combo. So I think it's always just going to be that constant battle. But yeah, for Kroot, some way to hit a bit more consistently hard. It feels like sometimes a team like Kroot, which is a bit of a tech team, you've got to line up 2-3 things to do well, in each activation.
Yeah, throw that needle,
Yeah, whereas for an elite team, and I get it, and hence why they call it elite, they're just like, I do this.
Apply the hammer. Yeah.
What about for you? Like when you are as an elite player, like again to reverse engineer it, what makes them so great to play into a Kroot or I'm just trying to think of other sort of Horde teams, the Star Strikers, or a team that's got lots of squishy bottles, Guardsmen.
Yeah, I think the change I would like to see is I think we should see AP2 leave the game. That's as an elite player, I think Piercing 2 should probably just leave the game. And I think it would be in a much better spot. Says my Screecher, Nightlord Screecher. Piercing 2, I think just bad for the game as a whole. Meltas, I think Meltas are so last edition. I think we should get rid of it. No, I think it's weird because my experience with elites is it's really feast or famine. Like you either smash or you don't. Like against these Horde teams, if you can go in and get the double kills, man, you are going to wreck. But like if they're drip feeding you, like, hey, here's a guardsman, you want to step out and kill him? Oh, do it, and then it is doable. But I don't know, man, it's tough. It's a tough thing to balance. The objectives also makes it difficult. Like only 3 objectives is so good for Space Marines.
Yes,
But I don't know, man.
One of the biggest issues is that in the last edition, you could kind of be like, well, I'm going to give you the 1 or 2 that you can sit some bodies on, but yeah, I can just body the others. I feel like with 3 objectives, the Space Marines still now have the bodies. Well, I might just go 3 and 3, and I'm just going to hold 2, and that's super tough to remove. Like they can nearly from the get go just go, I'm going to give you 1 objective, and you can have it, but you're not. There's no way you're getting 3 Marines off 2 other objectives.
And then like you can even say, okay, we need to make them a little less survivable. But then you have Space Marines just getting blasted off the table left and right. So it's such a difficult. I think that elites, really they feel good. And I think if you make them any less survivable, I think people are going to start to be mad about it. But I think we won't see this in the data slate change, but I think we just need to see more objectives.
Yeah,
I like the
interesting.
three,
Yeah.
but I think more objectives would help a little bit more. Just because, like you said, yeah, like my game plan is I abandoned my home objective, and I'm gonna take the other two. And guess
Yeah.
what? If you want to get to my home objective, you got to go through 6 Space Marines. While I apply all of these Space Marines to your face, trying to take your point. So like, it's tough, man. It is super tough. But I would love to see some teams like Kasserkin and some of these mid-range teams get a little better. I would love to see that. Elves are as good as they've ever been, but Sanctifiers kind of body them right now. So it's a weird rock, paper, scissors at the moment.
That it does seem like a few of those guard-esque human teams, as you mentioned, Kasserkin, the original Vet Guard, Aquilon.
They're on an apology tour right now.
Yeah, yes, that's like some of them seem like they're still paying for sins of the past.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's cool. Like I get it. Like every team needs their moment in the sun. Vespid's obviously still waiting. We'll say that for us now.
Yeah, make Vespids good. That's what I want out of the data slate. Make Vespids good. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but just make them good.
Again, there's some of those teams that I'm like, I just emotionally I want to be amazing. You know, like I cheer for them, but they never get their day in the sun. And then other teams that have just fallen off the face of the earth, i.e. the other Tau team. You know, the Pathfinders went from being the big bad for so long to not cited now. So
worthless. Yeah. Unplayable.
I mean, that's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing at the tournament this weekend that I'm going to, because sometimes we can also play within our bubbles with as casuals. Depending how many games you get in or what your friends play, you might also only play within a meta of 4 or 5 teams or 6 teams amongst your friendship group. You don't always get to see lots of teams. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing this weekend. I might have some better answers about what I don't like and do like after having a tournament like this, playing at least a few more games and seeing some teams I don't usually see. But yeah, there's Richard Warrior Princess is calling for 7 attack dice for Wreckers. Look, I do love the Wreckers. Speaking of teams I have a soft spot for.
Bring it on. Make Wreckers good. I love Wreckers. I want to play them. They're just not competitively viable right now. Because that's another team that big problem is like, guess what? If you don't know what's up, Wreckers will smash your face in and demolish you. But if you run into someone that does know what's up with a a team that can compete, it's a hard road to hoe, dude. Like you're probably getting there's not much of a win path sometimes, because at the end of the day, like unless you get the ball rolling by getting some early kills, it's like, well, guess what? You're a 2 APL team. You're 6 models with 2 APL because your bomb squigs have already died. So tough. I think here
Big Rubber Ducky made a good suggestion actually for Wreckers. Wreckers 3 AP on engage.
That's what I have said for months now. Yeah, that's I agree with that. I think that's great. Yeah, because then you can get it when you need it, and if you need to go open a door real bad, it's like, okay, you can do it, but you're probably gonna get shot for it. So like, I think it's good. Yeah, I think that is a change they need.
It still ties into that the aggressive play style you want them to play. It's like you're getting rewarded for being on engage and charging forward, but it's not reliant on having to get that kill to be able to then push the next activation or get those. Yeah, so I like that. I really like that. Sometimes that's those good little finesse changes or smaller changes that don't break a team or don't unlock, but they unlock the thematic side of it as well as the mechanics, which I like.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the balanced data slate. Sometimes that's probably for me my favorite part is just reading through, because sometimes too there'll be teams that will be like, this team copped this, and I'll be like, wow, I haven't played that team enough. I didn't know they needed that, but that's interesting. It's sometimes a bit of an education about it as well of what's going on in the meta at large as well. I said All right, do we want to jump into some questions? We got the AMA
to
do today.
Let's do it. Let's go for it.
So basically,
I have seen none of these, so I don't know anything. I'm just gonna raw dog this whole thing like I always do.
Yeah, exactly. What would be different? Now, quickly, we are obviously live right now. If you're listening on the podcast, welcome. You won't be able to do this, but if you are in the Battle Brothers Discord server, there is a link in the announcement section that takes you to the question section. You can still click it there and add your questions live if you like. So, yeah, feel free.
Yeah, get in there. Get amongst it.
Now, I think we do need to kick off with the most important question here. Speaking of people who have jumped in and wanting to get their moment in the sun, this is from someone called Not Russ.
Oh,
Why
okay.
is the handsome one with the shaved, not bald head? He shaves it. He can grow hair. He just cuts it short, I'm sure. Anyway, I forgot my question. Thanks.
You know
So not a
what?
question.
I think yeah, he told us that he had to go. He couldn't be here tonight because he had to shave his head because his hair. The problem is his hair grows in so thick that it's pretty laborious to actually cut it. So he told us that he couldn't be here because he had to go, crank up the lawnmower again just to get through the dense foliages that reside naturally upon his head. So that's why he couldn't be here tonight.
Like Rapunzel. He's
Yeah.
male Rapunzel. He's
Yep.
in a tower with his hair just flowing out the windows, and that's why some weeks he misses because it just gets out of hand.
It grows too fast, actually.
Yeah, crazy.
Yep.
Crazy. All right.
Yeah, too much testosterone. He told us that his body produces naturally so much testosterone that it's hard to keep up. It impedes his life.
All right, let's jump into one that seems
No, let's sit here. You want to leave? Let's sit here. Actually, let's sit here. I saw the desire in your eyes. Like, all right, let's move on.
I didn't know how long we could talk about Russ and his overdrive testosterone. I didn't know how long we could keep that going.
Oh, brother, I could keep it going all night long. Mercy. Let's move on.
All right, we got our first one from John Law. Which kill team do you think is most thematic, model, and rule-wise? And so I also followed up with can't be a flavor of Space Marine. So there you go. Sorry, Angels of Death.
That's a Florida man, by the way. Shout out to John. Because my flavor of Space Marine would be Death Guard, because I think most people think they're very thematic. Like, their weapons are like 7 inches instead of 8 inches, so it's like, and then all other abilities are 7 and 3 and very thematic. Yeah. But if it's not Space Marines, my mind goes to Hand of the Archon. Maybe feels pretty thematic. Where getting the pleasure from pain, the pain tokens, all that kind of stuff. That feels pretty thematic to me. What do you think?
Oh yeah, my favorite is the and probably not too much aside, the blooded. I always really like the blooded.
Oh yeah, man.
The
a fan favorite.
X kind of guard units gone off the rails. There's still like a twisted version, but then they add in that extra little bit of flavor and spice of like when the mission goes wrong, they just bring out an ogre. Like, it's the most chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a great one.
I think they're just they're such a fun team to play. And and they still feel like a human force, but then you've just got this classic chaos twist at the end that you're like, oh, there's an ogre, by the way, and a traitor commissar / enforcer who just like sends guys forward to their doom as well.
Yeah, so good.
Very cool.
Yeah, an honorable mention I'd put in is Rekka's as well. Yes. Rekka's feels very thematic. It's just like, let's go gamble. Like, let's see what happens, which is very orky. So, yeah, I would say that they're pretty thematic to me. Pardon me, at least as well.
I would say, and one that I am waiting for not this balanced data slate, but the next one to drop, because then I think I want to play them, is also the Sanctifiers. I think they're one of my favorite kits,
so cool.
Like just all the flame weapons. They feel like this holy mob. It's a bit of a hodgepodge of units brought together, being led by. I think they're thematically so cool, but I think the way they play at the moment still finding its way, and I don't want to jump on board while they're. I mean, I should just enjoy it while while the sun's shining.
They're cracked, dude. They are so insanely cracked. It's wild.
But I definitely, I think, I'm looking. That's the next team I've got on the paint table, and I'm really excited to chuck some paint on them. All right, here we go. So next up, we've got Caleb D. With 14 teams going to classifieds this year, how many new teams are you expecting released in 2025?
Mm, that's a good question. Well, we should expect 8 teams from the boxes, right?
Mm.
8 teams from the boxes, and maybe another team or two as a surprise. I would
Yeah.
say 8 to 10.
Do we get all of them this year, or is that going to stretch out? Because we got, is it 2 this year so far? We got, because, or will Wreckers and
Well,
Rattlings the start of this year?
the start of
Uh,
this year was Tempestus and
was that
and
this year?
Vespids, right?
Was
Yeah,
that this?
crazy, right? Or that was the end of last year.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah,
end
I
of
was
last
gonna
year.
say. So I
Okay,
think it's,
so
so we've got 4 so far. We've got the Wreckers, Rattlings, and now the Sanctifiers and the Goremongers. So 4
yeah, which is the
so
third
far.
box, right? Of
Yeah,
this,
third box of this season. Yes.
and
God.
then oh yeah, the Raveners, yeah, and then Raveners is the fourth box, right?
And that's it. And then we'll have the Raveners and the Admech.
Yeah,
So that's 6. And obviously
yeah.
that's still
Man,
waiting.
are we expecting? Yeah, and then the season will launch in the sort of August, September, October sort of phase into the year. We'll get some more
Mm.
ones. So yeah, I guess in total for 2025, yeah, like 8 to 10 teams
8 to
sounds about
10.
right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Actually, interesting point you brought up though. Do you think we'll see the return of something like a White Dwarf team? You know, because that was, I kind of really
Yeah,
dug that. Like the bringing out
yeah, me
rules that
too.
maybe we
Little
weren't getting
surprise
used.
teams.
Yeah, yeah. Like it was just like, oh, where'd that come from? It was a bit like how in the starter set, Plague Marines was like, that was all of a sudden we got that extra
Yeah,
team. You know, like we weren't really expecting it delivered that way, but we were like, oh, new team. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, that's
I guess that 8 to 10 mark, and then I'm hoping for a surprise team of some sort, like
yeah,
just like they did with Angels of Death. It's like, who, boom, here's a surprise. Or the Ashes of Faith box was a surprise as well. I'm hoping for a
exactly.
surprise, but we'll see.
That
Yeah,
would, because it's like, it's sometimes that thing. It's, yeah, like the set routine is nice, but there's something, because even like we know when we've talked about it a lot. There's those teams that Tyrannies has now been, the problem has been fixed, but Grey
yeah,
Knights, Custodes,
yeah,
Custodies.
yeah. Who knows what's coming now?
It's like there's quite a few teams that have been out in the dark for a long time. So it's like, do any of them get a bit of like a filler until something comes along that's a little bit bigger, or a proper full
Yeah,
box release? It doesn't, I would say history says that's not going to happen, or that doesn't seem to be the plan, but it would be cool. I'd take it.
it'll be sweet. Yeah, I'm hoping for it.
All right. There we go. Problem solved. We got about 10 teams, we reckon. Let's go with that. Um, All right. Here we go. We've got a question from our good friend Sandy. What's next for Kill Team? Do we just keep getting more teams terrain, or do you think they evolve the game even more?
That's an interesting question from our good
Yeah.
friend Sandy. Um, I wonder what evolving the game looks like, because I would really like a new Killzone, because it's a bummer that they
Yeah.
just dropped the ball so hard with Beta Decima. It's like it doesn't even exist. Like, it is a myth. Nobody plays it. Nobody. It's so bad. It's unplayable. It ruins the game for people. So that would have been cool to. So I hope so. Like, next season, are we going to see? I mean, I imagine we'll see a new Killzone, right? Which is pretty cool. Like, what's that going to be? Are we going to get more? Is it going to be like some sort of? Yeah, it'd be cool to have like an Into the Dark slash. And Volcus kind of is this, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like Into the Dark and open combined. But it would be cool if there is maybe something more like that, where you mix the two even more, where like there are doors to open and stuff like maybe something like that would be a cool advancement. I feel like.
Maybe
But yeah,
less and a bit
also
more
we're
like
gonna get another
Vault.
approved ops.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, we're getting a new cards at some point. So, yeah, I'm sure the game will evolve a little bit, and the approved ops pack, that's always a pretty like revolutionary game changer for the game. So yeah, I'm sure it will continue to evolve and improve upon what is already good, and I'm sure. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, that's right. I was going to say, yeah, a bit like what you was just to touch on the Volcus, that inside outside thing. Yeah, Volcus definitely seems to have started that idea of having indoor outdoor locations. But I'd say, I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but for me, at times we nearly forget that. Maybe because it's such a small space that you forget that when
Yeah.
characters are in there, that the rules change slightly. So yeah, is it I love the other week when we were talking about your 2-player game and you literally had one ITD board and the
Yeah.
outdoor board and they were linked. Like, to me, that would be like, can you do that on one board, a half-half? You know, that you can
Yeah, that'd
start
be cool.
in a fallen down Space Hulk, but then you can go outside because,
Yeah, that'd be
or whatever.
sweet, dude.
That would be pretty cool. Again, I don't know how you make that all the way competitive. Big Rubber Ducky just said in the chat, this is one we've chatted about a lot, like a forest kind of environment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I would still love that with trees and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
You could hide little snipers up in trees. That's one we've wanted for a long while. I think
Get an eliminator up there, a 700-pound suit of eliminator armor just sitting on a branch.
in a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I think Games Workshop has subtly tried I guess, test new things. We saw it a little bit with the Ashes of Faith box. We've seen it with this latest box with the cards that obviously add a new dynamic to the game. And also the advent of things like the solo mode and the horde mode kind of, co-op stuff as well.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd probably say, and correct, I'm happy to be proven wrong on this, is that we get those things though, but as players, we seem quite resistant to getting on board with them. Like, I don't think I've ever
fair enough.
played a co-op or a horde mode game. I haven't tested the new cards yet because sometimes I'm just like, well, that's new rules. I don't have to remember more. So it gets a bit in the too hard basket. So maybe we are a bit of victims of our own snobbery, if you will.
And they did, if you remember in the White Dwarf, they did put out rules for Forest Kill Team, for Jungle Kill Team. Remember that?
They did too, yes.
They did. Again, just to prove your point, they did it. And we're all like, nah, not for us. Not competitive. No thanks.
So
prove your point,
victims of our own snobbery that we want change and we cry for it, but then they give it to us and we're like, oh, are you kidding? I'm not doing that.
And to be fair, that one might have been like sort of a half baked attempt, you know what I mean? But like it still does prove the point. Like, they give us stuff, and if it's not exactly what we want, then we don't support it.
Yeah, I said I'm still very big on, even Jim Crimmon's in the chat as well, Catachan forest terrains, jungles with platforms. I'm thinking like Endor in Return of the Jedi, like walkways between trees. And,
that'd be sick, dude.
Full jungle hideout would be very, very cool.
Very cool, yeah.
I the one thing I would say is if we don't do it very often, but if you do a quick mental retrospective of where Kill Team was when it sort of came back with these, and then now it's gone as each of these evolutions of the new additions to where we are now. It has kept coming along really, really positively. I think a lot of the changes are good. I think most people.
Oh, totally.
It's becoming a better and tighter game. So
yeah, totally.
I'm kind of trusting them to just keep whatever they're doing is working. I don't want to rock the ship.
Yeah, Beta Decima is the fluke. You know what I mean? Like, it's the only thing, pardon me, they've released, like, quote unquote competitively that people turn their nose up, and like rightfully so turn their nose up. You know what I mean? Like, and so that is the anomaly. That's the exception, not the rule. And so I'm with you, man. Like, I am ready to see wherever this goes. Like, my seatbelt is on. Like, I'm ready to go along for the ride.
Yeah, Sandworm Fish on YouTube has just said, so Warcry terrain then. And you know what? Yes, I love the Warcry terrain. I reckon that's one of my favorite parts of Warcry is every time they bring out their new terrain kits, I'm like, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, I'll have some of those. We'll use them. That's fine. Ice Trinity's also said, Reese is going to Purge, right? Beta Decima is making an appearance there. I don't think it is. I think I have on good authority.
You're going to play 4 rounds on Beta Decima.
No, trust me. I'm scarred from my last tournament where I played Beta Decima 19 times in a row and none of it was fun. But no, I don't think so. I think it's all just Volcus and ITD. I've seen the piles of terrain. I've seen live photos of them and I didn't see any Beta Decima. So fingers crossed. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can find. We can't. Okay.
Here's a question for you, Reese. What's your favorite brand of yogurt?
Funnily enough, we also got this question thanks to Damien. It's currently I'm contractually obligated to say it's Valia yogurt, and you should have some because it's got great probiotics. It's good for
Ah, good for the gut, eh?
you. Good for the gut. Eh? Oh no. Thanks for that, Ben. All right.
Any day.
I reckon you'd have a good one for this, but it might be tough to throw you on the spot. But I'm going to do it because that's also fun.
Give it to me. I'm ready.
This is from Andy Littletooth. Regale us with a story of your most awesome and deadly move you've ever pulled off in Kill Team. So, like your big mega kill.
Okay.
Like, and you're renowned for a triple kill. You're a double kill, so you're renowned for it.
I'll tell you a tale. This is not a single explosive action, but I want to tell you about one of my finest games of Kill Team and a legend amongst the Florida scene of recent memory. Okay. So we all know about sanctifiers, right?
Yes.
Sanctifiers are a problem. They are beating people over the head. They're insane. They're just beating face in. It's crazy. So I'm in the Florida League because Florida, we're a bunch of we play nice together. We all like each other. So we're doing the Florida League, and so I round one match up into a lovely young gentleman named Vaughn. And so Vaughn is playing Sanctifier. So I'm like, oh boy, great way to start off this league is with the sweatiest game of Kill Team in my life. Vaughn, what we call a TTS warrior. Okay, and Vaughn is like 30 games in with Sanctifiers, just crushing people. He's a monster. I'm like, gosh, I got to go up against this team. And so we rock up to the table, and Vaughn, a famous crap talker, I was like, okay, Vaughn, like, let me know. Tell me, how many points are you gonna beat me by here, dude? Like, how many points are you gonna beat me by? And he goes, man, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna beat you by 17 points. It's gonna be a 17-point differential in this game. He's like, have you ever played against Sanctifiers? I was like, no, this is my first time. He's like, 17 points. I was like, dang, okay, everybody. He's gonna beat me by 17 points. All right. Fast forward to the game, round one. Sanctifiers do the Sanctifier thing. I lose he rolls 3 crits into my Plague Caster round one. So I lose my best model turn one. And it's like, oh gosh, dude, maybe he is going to beat my 17 points. End of the game, I'll spare you the details. This end of the game, the score is 20-2 in favor of this guy with Plague Marines. And so I ended up beating him by 18 points. After he publicly declared he would beat me by 17 points. So, and now he has the title of Mr. 2 Points is his new Discord handle in the Florida server. So, not a particularly shining activation, but that is one of my favorite games. That was a pretty devastating, turn of events.
That's a masterclass, I think we call that. That's just a magical. That's they make movies about things like that.
Yes, that was my Remember the Titans. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Remember the Plague Marines. My favorite one though was Six-Sided Paradise in the chat was like riding the bumps. I think he thought it was originally that it was him that you were going to tell a story about absolutely decimating someone, but he turned around. He was like, "Oh no, this is a better story." So even he got on board.
Oh, let me see. I have a fly level drop. Play something against me. Oh, that's George. Six-Sided Paradise is George. I've had many lovely games against George. George is gonna get me one of these days. He'll get me one of these days.
He says,
"Oh, the first game. That's a funny one." So
first game up. Oh no, poor George. Don't do it.
Yeah,
He's a lovely
so
guy.
George lives in Miami, which is about a 4-hour drive, and he was in Orlando, which is an hour drive for me. This is before we had met. It's like, oh, dude, yeah, I will drive to Orlando. We'll get a game in. I have car troubles. Sucks. He's like, you know what? I will leave my family at Disneyland to come play Kill Team with you. I was like, all right, dude, let's do it. Let's meet up. And so again, this is before the sort of competitive streak that this podcast has gone on, before Worlds, before all these things. And so I just finished doing the narrative tournament at KTO that year. And so I was like very much a casual guy. And so he rocks up and he looks at me. He's like, I'm going to show you what a competitive player looks like. I was like, oh, all right, George. And then I just bodied him. Absolutely bodied good old George. And we've been best friends ever since. And so that was that story. Our first game was brutal. He was like, dang, man, the Kill Team Casuals, you got to change the name of that podcast, dude. And it was like Legionaries into Intercession at that time, which is a great matchup for Legionaries. But anyway, like that was our first game. So another fabulous game with a fabulous friend.
I'm surprised he still listens to the show, but that's all right. A big hello to Sarah Kitty, first time chatter. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome, welcome.
Now, actually, I've got a question. I think that you would be a good person to answer this one, and Russ would also have been very good because you guys are very handy with the paints. I am okay. I am mid tier, and that's fine.
Oh,
But
you're a
I
machine, dude. You are far more efficient than I could ever hope to be.
that's my strength exactly. Is I can do quantity with a small amount of quality.
Oh man, your stuff looks good, dude. Your stuff looks good. I don't know what you're talking about.
One of the questions we've got here from Jesse and Coffee: what are the best line of paints, base, primer, and how it performs, but not discounting flavor when reshaping your brush in your mouth? So, do you have some favorite brands? I guess we're probably looking here outside of. I think we all probably feel pretty comfortable with GW Games Workshop paints. That's
Yeah.
probably usually where we all start. But I definitely find myself. I've only just started to branch out on a few recommendations.
Oh, really?
And stuff. With trying a few different ones, but again, only on a small scale. So I wouldn't say I can weigh in much.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, GW is a great place to start because it's easy to follow along with, the tutorials online and stuff. And I actually love contrast paint. I don't use I don't use anything else from GW, but I actually do like the contrast paints. But for me, hands down, shout out to Jesse. Jesse is a real one. He's one of the coolest guys that I've met in the Kill Team world. Pro Acryl, hands down for me, is the best. If I had to only pick one, I would go Pro Acryl. They're very pigment dense, excellent coverage, just massive range of colors, and they're always doing cool collaborations with like Vince Ventrella and Nova and stuff like that. So like they have lots of stuff coming out, and they have airbrush primer and all their paint also. It's the best paint that I have used to put through an airbrush because it doesn't take too much to get it through. So yeah, I'm on Team Pro Acryl. I have almost the whole range of it. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, okay, nice. How do you find, and this is just me going to expand off this question too, because as someone who now owns an airbrush because a friend who had one and never used it said, I reckon you'll get more use out of it. How do you break the thing of using it for the first time? Because now I've had it in my garage for a long time, but it's quite a daunting thing to go because it's a whole new thing to learn, it's a very different style. How do you break into it?
You just gotta go for it, dude. You just gotta, if you're just starting out, I'd recommend getting some airbrush paints in the beginning when you're not quite sure how to thin it down the right way. That's a pretty, don't do the GW ones though. I basically spent 30 of the last 40 working hours painting terrain at Warpfire. And so I love putting Pro Acryl thin down through the airbrush. But if you're just started, pick up a few, like Vallejo makes great ones, airbrush paints or something like that, and just get started. Get a bullcrap model, and just once you get the first gradient on there where it's like blue to green and a smooth gradient, like it will unlock something inside of you. And just get to it. And like for doing base coats, like I got a base coat 60 Space Marines. Nothing's better than just the right tone of red every single time. So so you just got to get amongst it. Watch a video or two and just jump in.
Yeah, it's been good actually. A few people joining in too. Said a few other people agreeing with you. Pro acrylic converts, pro acrylic converts. Some people saying that they love Vallejo. AK Six-Sided Paradise loving George loving AK. Saying that Army Paint is really good in there.
AK is great.
So it's one of those things. I think again for myself, you hit the nail on the head before where you said we all start with Citadel paints because that's the obvious and the easy one. But just like the airbrush, it's kind of is hard to break that thing because you kind of like, well, if I try these new paints, what if it's not as good? Or what if it doesn't, like, because it can be daunting. There's, I go to my local friendly gaming store and it's literally just like 2 whole walls of paints, different brands, different things. It's like, it can be hugely daunting to go, I'm going to make a change. So I think that security at times of Citadel makes you just go, I know what that is.
Oh yeah, I know this. Yeah, I know how it's like getting back with a toxic ex. Like I know how this pot is going to hurt me. I know how my paints are going to dry up. But it's the devil, you know. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's it.
And one of the things I'll say is the guitar market ended up being this way. It's like when I started playing guitar, there's just bullcrap, worthless guitars everywhere. But in the past, I don't know, 10, 12 years, everything has kind of upped its game in the production, and so like it's hard to find a bad starter guitar, much harder than it used to be. But paints are like that now as well. Is like for a long time, it was like Vallejo is like the most sort of foreign and like ooh, you have Vallejo or Vallejo, however you want to say it. I imagine Vallejo is probably correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like this sounds fancy. And now like you have Tooth and Coats and Army Painter is even upping its game. AK Pro Acryl. You really can't buy a bad paint is basically where we're at right now. GW is the one that has fallen behind in paint quality because it's very easy to buy a bad color from GW. I think the reds are magnificent. I love the red. There are some standouts, but basically, go buy whatever paint, and these days it's going to be good. Just don't use craft paint. Like use a Warhammer paint, and you're going to be golden because it's all good these days.
What have you ever? I don't know if you've used it, but I see it a lot. Old mate Duncan, he Too Thin Coats. Have you ever got amongst our Sir Duncan stuff?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think if you want a specific GW color, I say buy a Tooth and Coats because it's better in every conceivable way. Yeah, it's GW, but better in every possible way. Something that I've had an issue with is, it's nice they get the sort of the mixing balls in there. I think every paint should have a mixing ball. But sometimes it sort of drops into the little nipple, and then there's a nice little there's a nipple, and then it clogs it up, and you're like, gosh, and you go to squeeze it, and then it comes free, like you splat a whole bunch. So like that's been a problem I've had. But aside from that, I think the paints are wonderful. Yeah, I love Tooth and Coats.
Because that's an interesting, I like that. Because I mean, I obviously have seen a few of his tutorials and stuff, and obviously his, and even on their site, they literally have a chart. It's like, if you want to use this GW,
they're not hiding it. Yeah,
this is our one. If you want this one, this is the exact same one, but we did it better. It very much seems to be the business model, and that's just fine. That's good. Nothing wrong with
it's great
improving upon.
Yeah, because GW has not improved their paints, so like somebody's got to.
Yeah. All right. We kind of had a little bit of an answer, but I think this is a little bit broader on this one. Northie's asked us, what is your favorite 40k faction and why? And what is it that draws you to that faction?
Oh man, what a good question. Faction like broadly, I will say, is Chaos Space Marines. I've sort of
Space Marines.
Yeah, I've had this sort of realization like over the past couple of months. I was like, you know what? I was looking at like kill teams and playing different kill teams, and I was like, you know what? I keep coming back to effing Space Marines, dude. And you know what? I'm just a big dumb American idiot that likes Space Marines. That's what I am. You know what? I'm okay with it. I have embraced that as who I am. I don't want to play little guardsmen buffoons with flashlights. I don't want to play little piss babies. I want to play the cool Space Marine. I want to be the guy in the 6,000-pound, suit of tank armor, firing rocket launcher machine guns. That's what I want, and I'm okay with that. I love myself.
You've embraced it.
But
is it the chaos variety broadly, in particular? Like, not just Space Marines, like, they've got to be bad boys.
It's Chaos Space Marines, because like. There's this tragic element to it of, a lot of them didn't actually choose this life, but they found themselves going down here after the lust for power or just, the poor hand they were dealt and, Death Guard, like now they're just, life sucks, not through anything that they chose to do particularly, but like here they are. So like, there's that tragic sad boy element, which I like. And then they're just badass dudes in big armor. How about you?
Well, speaking of piss babies, I would say my two favorite factions from a lore perspective is the humble guardsman, because I love that.
So good.
They're just so
incredible, right?
Outclassed by everything.
Yeah. It's the best. I was a guard lover at first too. Like that was my first love.
Yeah, bottom of the food chain. Chucked into the meat grinder. I mean, I literally went back and I've been reading Gaunt's Ghosts again just because it's just like such a fun series. And I guess obviously in sci-fi world, it obviously they're the easiest way to put yourself in it. Like you can see yourself in these characters, and it's just, I think it's absolutely wonderful. But from a rule of cool perspective, the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas.
Oh man. I love the Sisters of Battle, dude.
artwork that they get, the model collection they've got, the lore
The muscle
behind them,
mommies
the
they
muscle
have.
mummies. I'm
Yeah.
into it. I'm into it.
Yeah.
But even again,
I
like there's
freaking
like
love them.
they're space marines, but they're not like they're just like hardcore militant chicks in power armor. So they're strong, but they're not like it. They've just got a great
Yeah.
dynamic. Like they're really cool.
And when Sanctifier is dropped, my heart was crushed because I feel like that means we're not going to get a Sisters of Battle team for a little while. Like this is probably that sort of. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but this feels like the Novitiates kind of replacement. You know what I mean? And so I would love a Sisters of Battle team. I think they're so freaking rad, dude. Yeah, I'm right with you. Like, I love the like evil, zealous, wicked church the situation. Like that's like the most Grimdark thing in all of 40K. Like it's just so metal. Yeah, I love it. So Sisters of Battle, I'm right there with you, dude. I love it so much. I wish I had a way to play them, but I don't right now.
Yeah, into the out of in the chat said SOB does Grimdark so good, and that's it. And even like we just touched on like Sanctifiers. I'm loving that GW is starting to bring out a bit more of those wider Grimdark factions now, like Inquisitorial Henchmen, more stuff with the Inquisitor, actually being able to take Inquisitor armies in Kill Team in 40K. Like I'm so good because it's so like that's so for me, that's what got me into it is all this Grimdark lore, this, you know, like but I would say that for a good while there wasn't much model representation of that. It was like, well, you're a guardsman or a space marine, and it's like they were like the
that's it.
I guess that's it. Yeah, that's it. And here's some aliens, but it was like now we're kind of getting that more. I guess what most of the Imperium actually is with these like raving mobs of religious fanatics, and it's so cool.
Yeah, and I'll throw in just a last one there real quick is Death Watch for me. You know, if we're talking about factions that we love, I'm building a Death Watch Angels of Death team at the moment. And it's kind of funny because like I've been playing Plague Marines a lot and loving them, and then I sort of came around to this, which I didn't realize, but the first 2 boxes of anything that I ever bought for Warhammer, which is for the Kill Team during like COVID times, was a box of Plague Marines and a box of Death Watch vets, and that was my 2 first sort of entry points to Kill Team and Warhammer at large. And now I'm here. I was like, oh man, it's kind of funny. Like now I'm back here again. It's like a weird full circle hobby moment. Yeah, Death Watch are just so cool, dude. Like just the baddest mofo's from every chapter, and like, oh man, it's so awesome. I love that as well.
It's I mean, we are lucky overall. I think the setting provides lots. Like, what about the opposite end of the spectrum? Is there a team you dislike or you think that doesn't fit, that you're kind of just like, if they went away, I wouldn't be that upset?
Ooh, that's a great question. Yeah, if you had to snap your fingers and get rid of a 40K faction, who would it be? That's a tough one. A lot of people would say Tau just because it's the meme. I like Tau. I think it's cool that Tau exists. I think the mech suits. I wouldn't do Tau. Would I do Eldar? Yeah, maybe I would do. For me personally, I think like the vanilla Eldari is the lamest faction in all of. I like Drukhari, but I don't care for Eldari, and so yeah, you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna Thanos snap Eldari out of existence. Not Drukhari, but Eldari. Yeah, get him out of here. How about you?
I think mine might be controversial to some people too. The team that I can't get around, that just like, I don't know, for whatever reason, like their lore, the Nekrons could go for me.
Really? Whoa, that's a hugely controversial.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, obviously this is why everyone has their factions. There's those that speak.
Yeah, no, I love this.
They've just never quite spoken. Like I'm just always been the idea of
the models have no personality is the problem for me. Most of them have no personality, which might be the point. But in the books, they're like these like Doctor Who little mofos, like with tons of personality. And like these, I don't know if you ever read like the Infinite and the Divine, but it's like just these 2 old like timey-wimey, very sort of like weird and like old men like fighting each other over time, like very eccentric. But the models are just like very boring, no personality. That's my problem.
It's kind of that's how I feel with them. I'm like, in the lore and the way they write them seems to clash.
There's some dissonance.
Yes, yeah, like I'm like I do picture them being this silent, implacable horde. Like they don't need personalities. They don't need to have this is Jeff
Yeah.
the dude. Like I love the fact that the Silent King he's stay silent. That's awesome. That's more menacing. You know, that's more like that makes them unknowable and alien and terrifying. But then, as you said, when you make them sound like two Doctor Who villains, or like
Yeah.
or that's I nearly come across when they try to give them personality as cartoony, and that to me takes the
Yeah.
fear out of them. Tyrannies are terrifying
Yeah.
because they're not here to talk. They're not here to party.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, we don't
Yeah.
understand them. Like everyone else is just like they are just this wall of thing that just literally wants to break you down and steal your biomass. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. And
inherently what makes them scary. I love it.
yeah. The Necrons for me is weird because I like the weirdness of the personality on like the cryptex. Like I do enjoy that. Cause I guess it's just the cryptex that would have it, but yeah, it's just some weird dissonance there. You know what? Here's another pick, and people will be mad at me. You might be mad at me for this one, but one that I just can't make sense of, where it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, who do we have fighting? Like Necron space wizards from another dimension with world-eating Catans following them along. And then we have the giant biomass ships that literally suck the life out of the Earth. And then we have space marines that are 2,000-year-old Templar crusading through the universe that can, beat a dragon to death with their bare hands. And we have Eldari moving like super quick and just bouncing around, superhuman. And then what do we have? Miners, Gene Stealer miners, guys who clocked out of work and still have their tool belt on. You want to tell me that Russ from the mines walked out with his drill and his sawzall, and he's gonna fight against space marines and trained guard? Like, oh, you have your rock cutter, cool, dude. Like this just makes no sense to me as a fighting force, as a whole entire army. I just can't wrap my brain around it. I think the models are cool, but I just can't get there. Like, on a full-scale combat, like, you guys are going to stand up. Like, you have a double-barreled shotgun. Like, what are you going to do? I'm a kilometer away with a pulse rifle, dude. What is your ATV riding, guy with a sawed-off shotgun going to do to me? So, yeah, that's one that I think the models look very cool, but it just can't make any sense of them as a fighting force in 40K.
Yeah, I look, I'm with you. I would love to see the Gene Stealer cult, them lean into, I love the minorists. Like, I like the minor. I collect GSC. I think it's great, but I would love to see even bigger integration of like the Brood Brothers and other aspects of like the Imperial thing. Like, it's like,
me too.
More than just they've got that one aesthetic, and I'm like, that doesn't always work for every world. Not everything is a mining colony. Where's like some nobles that have gone and been converted?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You hear about whole
they're riding dirt bikes.
Over? That's it.
Yeah, they're riding dirt bikes, dude. Guess what? You know what my answer to a dirt bike is? A hover tank. Ever hear of an impulsor executioner? That's my answer to your dirt bike. How many cc's is that thing, dog? How many cc's is your dirt bike, Gene Stealer cult? Yeah. Look, that's my stand-up. That's my stand-up routine. There's my tight 5 on Gene Stealer cult.
I'm still dealing with the shock that Drone 4321, he just said he's back. He was busy unsubbing from Threes to Wounds. So I'm definitely getting myself cancelled with my Necron hot take. Maybe GSC hot take will get you taken down. Maybe it'll take a few generations for that plan to come to fruition. But it's definitely, look, I think we're spoiled. When you said miners, I actually thought you were going to go the Votan for a second there.
Oh, okay.
But
I like Votan. I do kind of like Votan. Yeah.
They still need to have their range expanded, and they're still working into the setting.
Agreed.
But I still like them. I'm not Thanos clicking them out of existence just yet.
Yeah.
They have time to work their way in.
Yeah. Let them cook a little bit. Let them cook.
Exactly. Oh, that's great. All right. Here's a question for you. This is James Zero. What's your favorite way to play Kill Team right now, and what terrain setup are you using to do so? Do you have a favorite?
Interesting. Yeah, Beta Decima. Yep, for sure. Next question. I'm gonna say I'm loving. I mean, sort of going back to Into the Dark. I just love it. I love playing Into the Dark. Actually, here's my new favorite way. Yeah, my favorite way is on a clock. I have been clocking my games lately, and I think it's so fun. And so, like, what I do if I'm going to play a game, hey, we each get 45 minutes on the clock just to make things interesting, and let's go. And so it takes some of the. You've been playing a game of Kill Team, and like, I'm going to try not to be too verbose here. I know we're almost wrapped up, but like, where it's like somebody's taking like 8 minutes on an activation, and I'm like, dude, can you like blow my brains out right now? This is insane. Like, what are we doing? Like, can I go home? Can I call a cab? Can you call me a cab, please? And so like, when you're on the clock, it keeps things light and back and forth, and it's also good training. So that's my new favorite way right now is to play on the clock. I think it's very, very fun, and if you haven't done it, I suggest that you should try it. And also, I think it's fun. I think it's super fun.
It adds a new element of strategy to the game, doesn't it? When it's not just make a decision, but to make a decision within a time constraint. I think is another part of skill with the game, because it's also like most people after looking at a board for 10 minutes can probably make the right call or make a good call and not forget any of their rules. But yeah, you say actually you've only got 2 or 3 minutes to make that decision and execute. The onus is on you as a player to get good with your team, and I think it helps you learn and get better at the game because you have to start absorbing and obtaining that information. You can't run the clock down, if it will, or just hope your opponent dies of boredom. So I'm with you that. Could you ever see that becoming a standard part or an expected part of tournament play everywhere?
In my perfect world, we're all playing on the clock, buddy. You know what sucks? When you play against somebody who's like a slow player, it kills me, dude. Like, that is normally, like, if I can't finish this game in an hour and a half, like, every second after an hour and a half is like, okay, I'm getting diminishing returns on the enjoyment of this game. So yeah. I say that's my hot take. Kill Team hot take, make clocks standard, make them, standard issue, and then everybody can get used to it and do it. It's fun. It's not stressful. It's fun. You just got to sort of jump into it. And when you realize, this is actually a fun way to play the game.
We play a lot of board games. You probably grew up with a lot of board games that had the little sand timer turnover. So it's really hard for all of us to pick it back up.
Dude, that's a fun way to play Kill Team, is you get a 60-second sand timer and boom, and you have to. That's great. I love that. Yeah. It would be sort of funky. About like, resolving dice could be weird, but like it would just be a fun way to play Kill Team as like a little gag.
Even if it's that initial time is to make your move, so it's like he's moving here, he's done that. Once you've done those, clock stops. Now it's dice rolling, because dice rolling doesn't happen. Because once you're up to the dice rolling portion, I'm all right with slowing down a little bit to make sure you get your rules right. But I think it's more making the decision of what model's doing what actions and in what order. That's where it gets bogged down. I usually find once you hit dice rolling, that's not too bad. I think it's definitely more getting to the dice rolling at times.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, good shout.
Oh, nice. All right, well, look, that was a whole bunch. We had a few more. I'm so sorry if we didn't get to your questions. I reckon we'll do another AMA once we got Russ back in the building very soon, especially maybe after we see the New Balance data slate. We love hearing from...
And his new hairdo. Yeah, he told us because he can grow such strong and thick and vivacious testosterone juice boosted hair that he said he was going to unveil a new haircut on the next episode. He's going to get it cut, and then he was going to unveil his new do. So what hairstyle do you think Russ will be rocking when we see him next?
I'm hoping for a sexy bob. Just a little,
Ooh, the bob. Yeah, a little Rihanna action. Yeah, like a little 2015 Rihanna action. Yeah, I can get behind that. A bob, I'll join that. A bob or a bowl cut, a classic '90s bowl cut.
Strong bowl.
Yeah, I bet we should find out. I bet Russ had a bowl cut when he was a kid. He seems like that. He might have been peak like bowl cut.
Yes, like you could set such a strong bowl, you could make a salad in it. Like, really, like crisp,
real coconut
edges.
Head. Yeah.
Oh god,
I was always jealous. Like all the kids in the movies had that like tight fade bowl cut mushroom thing, and my hair was always like wavy and curly. I was like so jealous of these kids. Like, I can't. I want to be cool. I want to be cool like that kid.
I love it, mate. There's still time. If you want now, you could. You're an adult. You've got
I
adult
can make
money.
it happen.
You could go and get your very own '90s kid undercut bowl cut. You'd be living the dream. You just be on the show like, check it out, boys. I'm here.
Just tossing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
A huge thank you to everyone in the chat as well for joining us live. All the legends in there. Six Sided Paradise George. We love ya. Sandy, Drone, Ice Trinity. Thank you so much for everyone joining in. Sarah, thank you. Samoan Matt, all the legends.
Oh, Matt, what's up?
A lot of people jumping in on YouTube as well today as well. So look at us growing on both platforms. We had Eamon in there as well. Adam, I hope, unfortunately we'll have to do the barbecue in Dallas another time. Sandwormfish, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys joining in, chatting live with us. Means a whole bunch. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for joining in there. Make sure you check out our Patreon as well if you want to support us. It helps the show a whole bunch. We've got dreams and things we'd like to do. Maybe we'll go into those when we've got a little bit more time. But in the meantime, that's it for the show. Thank you so much to Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop.
Thank you very much for having me on my own show. Thank you, Reese from Threes to Wound, for being on your own show.
For 3FN, 07's in the chat. And
we'll see you guys next time.